Tragedy.
While Vice President Mike Pence railed against ISIS-linked terrorism, a shocking new expose by longtime investigative journalist Alan Nairn has revealed backers of Donald Trump in Indonesia have joined army officers and a vigilante street movement linked to ISIS in an attempt to oust Indonesia's democratically elected president. Writing in The Intercept, Nairn reveals Indonesians involved in the coup attempt include a corporate lawyer working for the mining company Freeport-McMoran, which is controlled by Trump advisor Carl Icahn. Video has even emerged showing the lawyer at a ceremony where men are swearing allegiance to ISIS. According to Alan Nairn, two of the other most prominent supporters of the coup are close associates of Donald Trump: Fadli Zon, the vice speaker of the Indonesian House of Representatives, and Harry Tano, Trump's primary Indonesian business partner, who's building two Trump resorts, one in Bali and one outside Jakarta. Nairn's article is making with
the local Trump people in Indonesia, including his top political backer, the politician Fadli Zon, including his local business partner, Harry Tano, and others have been funding and backing this coup movement. The instrument they have been using is what purports to be a radical Islamist street movement, which has been staging massive demonstrations on the streets of Jakarta, demonstrations drawing out hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of people. And their hook is what they claimed to be a religious issue, where they're attacking and demanding the death by hanging of the incumbent governor of Jakarta, who happens to be an ethnic Chinese Christian who is currently standing trial for insulting religion, for insulting Islam. Is the number 2 person in the Indonesian Congress. And they tried to censure him for appearing with Donald Trump on the grounds that it was unethical. And as the imam had pointed out, the thing that Trump is famous for in U.S. politics is being a racist and being anti-Islam. And this was especially sharp and ironic because Prabowo and Fadli Zon have used as their main political tactic attacking any of their opponents on the grounds that their opponents are, 1, anti-Islam, not as Islamic as they are, and 2, tools of foreigners. Prabowo, of course, as he had told me in our extensive discussion, himself was the closest partner of U.S. intelligence in Indonesia when he was helping to run the mass murdering Suharto military. He worked for the DIA, the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency, but in the campaign he was running as a phony nationalist.
Are we aware of the Trump connections to the supporters of the coup movement?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know when this will air, but as we are speaking, as this is being recorded, next week, on a Wednesday, the Jakarta gubernatorial election is due to happen. That's when it will be decided whether the governor, who is the kind of pretext for this street movement, will be voted in or voted out as,
this is April 19th.
As governor, yes. And the day after the scheduled gubernatorial election, Vice President Mike Pence is due to arrive in Indonesia for 2 days and to meet with President Jokowi. Now, one interesting aspect of this is where does the U.S. stand on all of this? Because on the one hand, the U.S. has a long-time policy in countries around the world of backing the repressive armies and security forces, but on the other hand, also backing elected presidents, as long as those elected presidents do not have a program that threatens U.S. corporate interests or the interests of the local rich, or the fact that the U.S. is allowed to back the local army and security forces. Barring that, the U.S. is all for local elected presidents. So in accord with that historic worldwide policy, the U.S. has up to this moment, as far as I know, up until at least recently, been backing Jokowi against the coup movement. But it's Trump's local people who have been helping to push the coup movement. Now, I don't know whether this question has come to the attention of President Trump himself. It could come to his attention through his business partner, Harry Tano, through his main Indonesian political partner, Fadli Zon, through his other business partner, Setia Novanto, who's a famously corrupt politician, or it could come to his attention through Carl Icahn, who is close to Trump, is his deregulation advisor from the White House, and who is the controlling shareholder of Freeport-McMoRan, the oil and the mining giant of copper and gold, which has been ravaging West Papua, taking their gold and copper, but which, and this is quite significant, recently has been under challenge from the Jokowi government. For years, Freeport-McMoRan has had a free ride in Indonesia. As long as they paid off General Suharto and his cronies, as long as they paid off the army, various bureaucrats, they were able to do whatever they want. They were able to just strip the mountains of West Papua, turn the rivers indescribable primary colors from their pollution, knock off their dissident workers when necessary. They were able to do anything. But now, just in the past year and a half or so, they have been under challenge from the Jokowi government, which is demanding a renegotiation of the contract between the Indonesian government and Freeport-McMoRan, and which has been restricting Freeport's copper exports. So this is creating a problem for Icahn, a serious economic problem for Carl Icahn. As this conflict between the Jokowi government and Icahn's Freeport has been going on, the local lawyer for Icahn's Freeport has been helping to lead the coup movement to oust Jokowi. Now, I don't know how much Trump knows about this, but I know there's some question among some officials in Indonesia as to, in the end, which side will the U.S. come down on. Will it continue the traditional U.S. policy of wanting to keep an elected president in for kind of stability purposes and front purposes, or might it align with Trump's personal and business connections on the other side who are backing the coup?
Investigative journalist Alan Nairn will link to his piece at The Intercept. Tune in tomorrow for our coverage of the March for Science in Washington. And on Sunday, I'll be speaking at Princeton University. Special thanks to Sam Alcoff and Mike Burke. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for joining us.